hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I have a spring DIYs video. I put together 10 of my favorite spring DIYs, all with a little bit of a coastal touch. You know I love to bring some coastal beachiness into some of my DIYs, and I do that today. So let's get started with the first DIY. I'm going to use a wood sign from the Dollar Tree. This is a square. It totally doesn't matter what it is. And a wood round from the Dollar Tree would actually be great for this. But I'm going to use what I had. So I'm just going to paint it pink with acrylic paint, just because I thought this pink color really reminded me of spring. And the only thing that you're going to be able to see on this sign is the corners, really. So it doesn't matter that all the other stuff's on there. Now for the flower that we're going to add to it, we're going to do a giant burlap flower using this burlap roll that I got at Walmart. It is an 18-inch roll. I thought like working with a roll would be easiest because I need to have, certain sizes to make the petals of my burlap flower. And I have never made one of these before. I cut 18 inches, so I had a large 18-inch square. And then what I did was I cut that in half and then cut that in half again. So that one square is going to give me 4 pieces that I can use for my petals. Each of them is going to be 9 inches by 9 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut some twine, and let me show you how I construct the petals. So I'm going to fold up from the bottom and then fold up from the top until they touch. Pinch it, and then pinch it from the top and the bottom. Then using my other hand, I'm going to tie it off with twine. That twine's going to kind of match in with the burlap, and it's going to secure my petals. Now that's 2 petals because they're going to be bent kind of like that. And I have no idea at this point how many petals I'm going to need. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of them. And if I need to make more, so be it. Now, this would be really pretty too if you had like a colored burlap or something like that. That would be so pretty. But this brown burlap goes really well with my coastal decor. So I think it's going to look really cute for this. So again, just fold it up, fold it down till they touch, pinch in the middle, pinch from the top and the bottom, and then tie it off. Once you have like your squares cut out, it goes pretty quickly. You could go ahead and cut all your squares out first, but again, you're probably not going to want to make more than you're actually going to need. So I want this to be like fairly large. I'm going to kind of hang this by my front door area, and so I want it to be a nice focal piece, just a large flower. I've seen like people have made like flowers like these into like different kinds of specific flowers using different colors and stuff like that. That would be really pretty as well. So I'm going to kind of use my sign to try to figure out how many of these pieces, that's how full it would be if I just used 4 of those pieces. But I decided I wanted my flower to be a little bit fuller. So I'm kind of trying to see what it would look like if instead of 4, I use 6. And I liked that a lot better. I am going to do another row of flower petals like that, but I think this is a good starting point. Now, I thought it would be easier to glue down 3 of these instead of 6. So I'm just going to tie the adjacent pieces next to each other because they're going to kind of be touching anyway like that, and then fold them all back. So I'm going to do that on the other 2 sets of 2, just so I have less things to glue down. But this step, totally optional. So there we have it. Now we just need to secure that to the sign. I just used hot glue, and then I pushed that down, securing it, making sure I like the way my petals look. You're going to get a different look kind of depending on which way you arrange it. glue my second one over here on the left, and then glue my final one here on the right, just securing them in the center, letting all of the petals kind of flare out. Now I need to start working on my second row. Since I went ahead and did 6 on the first one, I am going to have to make a couple more petals because I'm not going to have enough. But at this point, I'm a pro. The only thing is you want to try to get your petals symmetrical if you can. So don't work too fast. Otherwise, you're going to have to move it around like that. Okay, so here's our flower. I'm going to go ahead and do what I did before by tying the adjacent ones together, just to make it easier to glue down. And I'm going to do that with both sets. So we did 6 on the bottom. We're going to do 4 on the top. And I thought that would make it bloom out, you know, kind of like a real flower. Super cute. Then I thought it would be even easier if I just tie it all together with the twine. And then I would only have one thing to glue down. And it's going to make it, I think, stay together better, you know, since I'm just using hot glue to attach it. So I like the way that looks, so I'm just going to do a ring of hot glue on the top and the bottom to make sure I get that secure, and then gluing that to the bottom set of petals, kind of staggering it out so the petals kind of go in between the other petals below it. Now I was trying to decide what would be a good center for the flower, and I was kind of doing a beachy theme, and I thought it would be perfect if I used a Dollar Tree sand dollar for the middle, but if you wanted to use any kind of circle, that would be great too. I wanted to bring a little color into it, so I paint my little Dollar Tree sand dollar this Caribbean blue color to kind of go with my beachy decor. And I'm going to attach that to the center of this burlap flower. That way I have the pink sign behind it, I have the blue sand dollar on it, kind of a blue and pink color scheme. So I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. Now I get this glued down, and I wasn't like super happy with it. I thought it needed more color for spring, and so you'll see how I add that in a second. Now I did want to replace the hanger just to add a little bit more fun, so I'm just using some of the wood bead garland from the Dollar Tree, and I think I was being super lazy on this and just tying it to the existing hangers. That way I didn't have to try to attach it to the back. I thought that might be more secure. Their staples they use at the Dollar Tree must be a different size than the ones that I use at home, because mine always go through those Dollar Tree signs. Just like that, and we have a wood bead hanger. And you won't be able to see the staple down there if it goes all the way through, so I just stapled down the original hanger. Now, these are the pink cosmos flowers that I got at Dollar Tree, and I thought this would be a great solution to try to add more color. And again, if you use like a color burlap or a colored fabric, you wouldn't have that problem that it's just not colorful enough. So I thought if I added just some of these pink flower petals on my flower, I could add some more color. So I was thinking about just cutting them in half like that, and then tucking the petals underneath my sand dollar slightly, just attaching with a little hot glue and bringing in some of that fun pink. And I'm just using one of those little Dollar Tree Cricut tools to kind of slide those in there so I don't burn myself with hot glue. And I'm going to kind of stagger them so they kind of like go out in different directions like a flower petal. And I was happy with that solution, so I am going to keep doing that all the way around the sand dollar. And I think this was really what it needed. It really just needed another dose of color. And since I'm just cutting the petals apart, I can make this flower as big as I need it to be. I've never dismantled the Dollar Tree flowers like this and just used the petals before, but hey, it worked. So just going all the way around until I finish off the flower. And I liked that way more. I thought this was really fun. I did want to slightly distress my little blue sand dollar just to kind of give it that coastal farmhouse feel. So I just do that with a little bit of ivory, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. And there it is, our little coastal spring burlap flower. I think it's so cute. You know, on a wood round, you wouldn't be able to see the background. That would be great if you wanted to hang it like on your doorway, but I don't really mind the square sign behind it because you do get a little bit of pink peeking through from behind the flower. Okay, this next DIY is going to be so easy. I just picked up one of these little truck placemats from the Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these whenever I can find a good design. We're going to make a really easy spring sign with that little blue truck full of flowers. Now, you guys know I love to use these little chalkboard signs from the Dollar Tree. One reason is they're a great size and they're thick and they don't bow like the thinner Dollar Tree sign. So I'm going to use it even though it's kind of going the wrong direction. We're going to make it horizontal just by removing the hanger and doing our own thing. Now, it's almost the right size, but I thought I could just kind of do my own background because I'm not going to be able to fit that entire placemat on there. So just using some of this white wood removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree. I'm so happy that all my stores are carrying this stuff now. It's so easy to craft with, and I am just going to attach that to my sign. And then if you have too much, then you can just use like a Dollar Tree sanding block, and that gives you a perfect cut along the side. I like using the blue one with like the palm print on it is one of my favorite removable wallpapers, but this is probably my close second. I use it a lot. I think the whiteboards always give every project like a nice coastal feel. Now, I don't really want it to look like just, you know, paper. So I thought if I distress it slightly with some ivory, I'm going to make it look a little bit more farmhouse. Kind of breaking up those lines, adding a little bit of ivory color to it as well, and then wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. Just something I like to do to make it look a little bit less like paper and more like a background. Now, so I'm going to cut out the truck. Now this like placemat from the Dollar Tree, this material is like a thin, pliable plastic. It's super easy to cut. And I wasn't able to fit the whole thing on there, like with the words and everything. So I thought I would just cut around the truck. That's why I did the background on the sign so that I would have something underneath of it that would be the perfect size for my sign. And I'm just trying to get kind of close to the truck. I don't want to mess with the design. But again, that white's going to be on a white background, so you're really not going to be able to see it. And isn't that little truck cute, full of flowers for spring? I love it. And the little blue truck always reminds me of a coastal because of the blue color. So I am going to do a rather thick layer of Mod Podge on the back and on the sign, and we are going to glue this to it. Just with the Mod Podge, and then just using a baby wipe to kind of smooth it out to make sure it's down and flat. And then I'm also going to go over the top of it with more of that matte Mod Podge to make sure it is down and secure and it's not going to peel off. And I just love this truck. I've noticed they also have it like on the little coasters. In this same style. It'd be really cute. You can DIY a sign with a coaster as well. I think it's perfect for spring. They had it last spring and they have it again this year. I've seen it too. And I really don't want it coming up. I was worried about that thick plastic, so I do go over it with another coat of matte Mod Podge to secure it. Then to kind of make it look a little bit more like a hand-painted sign, I am just going to distress it slightly with some more of that ivory acrylic, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe, and it gives me that fun coastal farmhouse vibe. I'm not going to add like any kind of like ocean starfish or anything like that, but you know, the white boards and the light blue beachy truck, I think that gives you a coastal touch. Then I thought this nautical rope would too, and I always like to frame out my signs, and using a rope is always super fun. This is the thicker white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I know they have like all different diameters, at least 2 different kinds right now. And then I'm just going to glue that on to do a simple rope frame starting along the bottom. And if you leave it attached, you can like just go all the way around. You won't have to worry about cutting and seams. This is going to add a little bit of thickness to the sign as well, which I always like to do with my Dollar Tree DIY signs. I'm going to go along the top. And I'm also going to use this rope to make a hanger, since we had to remove the hanger and the holes because we made this horizontal sign. So I am cutting through that. It is a rather thick rope. I like to use like either really sharp scissors or the KitchenAid scissors to kind of saw through that. Gluing that down, and then when you come to your corner, you just can kind of trim it as good as you can get it. And then if you use hot glue, you can kind of glue down those fibers and your seam will kind of disappear. Cutting it short is probably the real trick. Because I had a lot going on down there. Now that I have it short enough, I'm just going to use hot glue and glue it down together. And now it's time to make the hanger. I just tie a knot in that same rope, just a simple knot at the end. Measure to see how big I want it. Tie another knot for the other side of my hanger. This is going to be a super fun little nautical little handle. And I just cut off both ends of the rope like that. And we're just going to attach it to the top of our sign. And this actually worked really well. The sign's not too heavy, so I'm not really worried about it falling apart. But I really liked this look, and I had never kind of made like a handle for a rope sign before, but I really like how it turned out. I'm using some extra hot glue here on the back to make sure that it glues down to the sign itself as well, just to kind of secure it a little bit further. And there it is, our little blue truck for spring filled with flowers. I hung this on the side of my cabinet for spring, and I think it looks so beachy and fun. What do you think? I like the license plates too. It says happy. Okay, are you ready for another DIY? This one was really whimsical and fun. I'm going to use just a wood flower from the Dollar Tree, and I was trying to think, what can I cover that with? That would be coastal or beachy, and then I was like, you know, the little sand dollars from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. Now, if you don't have any of these, they should be coming soon. Trying to remember when the coastal living comes out. I'm thinking April. Do you guys remember? I'm going to have to check when I did my first shopping haul last year. But it's such a great deal for sand dollars. But if you can't find them there, you can always get some on Amazon pretty cheaply. And they're just the right size to fill in a little flower, and we can make a sand dollar flower. I thought that would be really fun. So I want to kind of cover up. This is just kind of like a brown MDF board sign from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. So I'm just kind of doing a base coat of ivory over everything because I was worried about you being able to see the background. And I didn't want that to contrast against the sand dollars. Now this project kind of evolved because I liked it, but I thought it needed something, so I kind of kept adding to it. But I don't really like the color of the sand dollars. They're kind of gray from the Dollar Tree, so I always like to paint mine ivory. I think that makes them look a little bit prettier. But since it's spring, I thought it'd be fun just to do pink. So I'm using, I think this is called like pink parfait or something like that. Acrylic paint, just something I had, and I'm just going to go over all 6 petals with the pink. And I did the center one, the ivory that I like to leave. And I thought that the pink sand dollars was a really fun touch. You know, we did blue before for the burlap flower, so pink is fun. I'm going to go ahead and make a hanger for the back just by using some twine, tying that off, and I'm going to staple that through the back of the sign. I thought I should do it now before I get any farther on this build. And see how like the little sand dollars are like the perfect size for the petals? I thought this was really fun. And I kind of like want all my slots kind of going the same direction. And now it's time to just start gluing them down. I'm just going to use hot glue and secure them down. I use Gorilla Glue hot glue. I get it on Amazon. It's available in my Amazon shop below. I find that it works really well, and I don't have too much problems with my DIYs staying together. So we're just going to glue them all down. Now I liked the ivory background, but once I get them all on there, I thought it needed like something. I didn't think it really looked like a flower. So we're going to kind of keep building it a little bit. The first thing I did was I kind of just wanted to distress that ivory one, kind of bring out some details. So I'm just doing that with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a baby wipe, and just kind of distressing that one, kind of making it look more realistic to something that I would actually find on the beach. I've got little like sand dollars from the Gulf Coast a lot, and from Puerto Rico. I've got some pretty cool sand dollars. And then I thought it needed more color, so I added one. This is that spring ribbon from the Dollar Tree in like this turquoise color with the little white flowers all over. And I just tied off a simple bow just to put on the hanger, just to bring in some blue to this project, since I was trying to do a lot of beachy blues and pinks for my spring DIYs, just to add a little color. Just tying that on there. Then I thought, you know, maybe if I add leaves or leaves, I can make it look more like a flower. So I'm just going to use some greenery on some spring flowers that I had sitting around, just removing the leaves. And I thought I would just attach that to the back of my sign, where it can kind of peek out between the petals, the sand dollar petals. So I just kind of leave them intact and then just hot glue them down like that. And I kind of liked that look. I thought that helped make it look a little bit more like a plant and less like just sand dollars. Sometimes you can use something really whimsical for a DIY like this, and then you're like, I don't know if I can make this work. But I think in the end, we actually did. So I do that for all of the gaps between the flower petals. Just some leaves on every side. And then I was like, you know, I thought I was done, but I said, you know, it would look really cute if it looked like they were actually laying in sand. So I'm using Mod Podge, and I just do a layer in all of that area, the kind of the gap area between the sand dollars, and then using a Dollar Tree, a brown sand, I just glue that sound down, and it makes it look like the sand dollars are like laying on the beach in sand. And I really liked that touch. I thought it was really cute. So just kind of pushing it down into the Mod Podge, and then I used some of that spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree to go over the top to glue it down as well. And then just drying that on there, and another coat of glue just to make sure that sand's not going anywhere, because I'm going to hang it on the wall. And I think this is really whimsical and fun. But we have some sand dollars in sand, I guess. Flower. Now, I got to that point and I decided I wanted to add to it to kind of make it more of a sign. So I told you this project evolved, right? So I had like a wood round from the Target dollar spot, and I thought it's nice and thick, and I can kind of add that Dollar Tree sign to that. So that's what we're going to do. I do want to kind of slightly distress it with some ivory, just to kind of make it look kind of coastal and beachy to go with it. And then I'm going to glue that flower onto the wood round. Now, Dollar Tree has wood rounds now. You could kind of do this same thing, but this one was maybe a little bit smaller. But this step is totally optional. You can just totally leave your flower the way I had it before. I decided I needed to use like a little bit of a spacer, so I'm just going to use some of these wood dominoes from the Dollar Tree, just to kind of have a surface that I can then glue down to the sign. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to hot glue all of the points that would touch it and secure that to the wood round. And then I do want to bring in that blue color again, so I'm going to tie that blue bow with that ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to add that to the hanger like I did before. And it just made it a chunkier piece to kind of go. I'm going to put this on the wall with all of my coastal decor, bring a little bit of spring into it. And this is how it turned out. This is how it looks in my house. My little sand dollar of flower. I think it's so fun. It makes me smile. Okay, next DIY. I'm going to use one of these little wood blue trucks from the Dollar Tree, some flowers, and then just another dollar spot sign. So I love this. The only thing I don't like is the glitter. So I thought we could maybe DIY this little sign from the Dollar Tree. And they have these in different colors and styles. I picked the blue truck because, of course, I like that beachy blue truck for kind of a coastal feel for spring. So the first thing I thought is I wanted to tone down like the glitter on the bumpers. There's like a little bit of glitter on the tires as well, and like the lettering and like the bottom rail there of the truck. So I was just kind of seeing if I could disguise that. I'm going to use this Caribbean blue acrylic and just kind of just paint over the glitter. And that actually worked. It kind of gave you a textured look, but it looked way better, I thought, than the glitter, because that's not really the vibe I was going with these DIYs. I wanted it to look more coastal farmhouse. And it matched the blue truck that was on there pretty well. Now, for the glitter on the tires, I thought I could do the same thing. And so I'm just going to go in with some silver. I had some kind of silver metallic acrylic paint and just kind of paint over the inside of the tires to kind of cover up all that glitter. Kind of changing the color scheme as well, because there was a little bit of yellow on there. And I like working with the metallic paint. It kind of makes me, for tires, it kind of gives me that like chrome look that you would have on your tire. And then I'm going to use that along the bottom here as well to cover up that glitter and give it kind of that silver shiny color. I did have to go over it with a couple of coats to cover up the colors that was underneath of it, that bright yellow. But I like the way that looks. Then for the center part, I thought I would just make it black. So I'm just going to use a black paint pen and just kind of draw that on. It would almost look fine even without it. Just a simple circle. Now, you know I like to distress things. I'm using some ivory and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree. And just distressing our little coastal blue truck a little bit, just to bring out some character. Also distressing the tires. Now you can see it's filled with flowers in the back, and I think that's super cute. They have glitter on them too, but I'm not going to worry about that because I thought we could fill this truck up with some actual like Dollar Tree flowers instead. Now I wanted to kind of cover up the glitter here where it says fresh flowers. So to paint over it, I'm just using a paint pen. I thought pink would be really cute. It would contrast nicely against that blue truck. So I just go over all the writing, super easy with my pink paint pen, and that toned down the glitter as well. Distressing that a bit as well to kind of make it kind of go with everything else. So I did kind of use the existing paint and style of that. If you wanted to DIY your own, you could always turn it over and start from scratch. Now I wanted like some blue flowers. I thought that would be fun for my coastal decor. So I picked out a couple different colors, kind of a mint green and a light blue. Then I thought if I just drill a hole, I can poke the flowers in and secure them into the back of the truck. So I'm leaving all that part on there. So I'll have something that I can attach all the flowers to. And so I'm just kind of drilling where I think it needs to be, just kind of alternating them around. And you can use any flowers you've got. I was doing really good at using all my stash of flowers for DIYs, but I've been seeing some really pretty ones this spring, and I think I'm starting to get too many again. It's easy to see them and buy them and then not DIY with them. So this is an excuse to use some of your flower stash. They're a little bigger than I would like, but I think we're going to be able to make it work. So I just keep drilling holes and just popping them through. Couldn't be any easier if you get your drill bit the right size. And if you didn't want to use a power tool, you could always use a screw to kind of drill a hole in there. You want it to be about the perfect size so that the flower will stay put just by friction. So that looks pretty full. You can't really see any of the existing flowers. I was trying to see if I added some greenery, if that would look better. And then I am just kind of trimming them up a little bit on the back. And then adding some hot glue to each one to make sure, since I'm hanging this on the wall, that these aren't going to fall out. So to add the greenery in there, I thought I would just take some of that greenery from the flowers that we used and just put some hot glue on the end and put it in there just to break up the colors. I thought it was just a little too much blue flowers, not enough greenery. And so I'm just going to keep doing that until I like the way it's looking. And I think that did help. Maybe a smaller flower too would look really good. But I definitely like the colors on these. Adding a little bit more greenery over here. And then I wanted to just kind of layer a sign. So I had a rectangular wood sign from the Target Dollar Spot. And the only reason I'm doing this is to kind of make it a chunkier piece. And it has that beautiful wood grain on it as well. I'm going to distress it with ivory again with a chunky brush. Just because I think that always gives a nice coastal farmhouse vibe. Even to a wood look like this. Once I get it all distressed, I just go over that with a baby wipe, wiping off any excess paint. And distressing it a little more. And then I can add my little truck to it. It's just going to make it a more substantial piece, but you could always layer this on a Dollar Tree sign as well. My Target Dollar Spot has not been having very many of these plain signs lately. Actually, they don't have any of their Easter or spring stuff out. They still only have Valentine's Day, and it's like Valentine's Day as I'm recording this. So I don't know what they're waiting on. And then I'm gluing the whole thing down just with hot glue to the sign in the back. Now I have a little hole there where my truck had a hanger. So I like to disguise that with just a little twine bow. So I take some twine, just tie a simple little bow, and then just glue that over. Easy way to disguise those holes that you need to kind of cover up. Then I wanted to add some beachy touch, and I thought a starfish would be perfect, but the white was a little too bland. So I don't really have much pink on this project, so I thought we would paint it pink, kind of like Patrick Star. So I'm just using acrylic paint in this like pink parfait color. I think that's what it's called. And it's going to give me a nice springy looking starfish. And I don't think this was a starfish from the Dollar Tree. Maybe it was. I also get them on Amazon. This might be one that I had from Amazon. But they do have them at the Dollar Tree as well in the Coastal Living. That comes out every spring now. I can't wait for it to come out. I know a lot of you guys are excited about that. And then I'm going to hot glue that to the top. I'm going to use some more of that spring ribbon. This is the pink version with the white flowers on there. And just to bring in a little bit more pink, tying a simple bow to decorate the hanger of this one as well. Just cutting off some even tails. And then using a little twine to tie that onto my hanger. Just going to add some more color and fun to this DIY. And you could get really creative with this. You can kind of use whatever kind of flowers you've got, but I think it turned out really a fun DIY for spring. And this is how it turned out, and this is how it looks on my wall. I think it's really cute. I love the little blue truck theme. And it's full of fresh flowers. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about my Facebook group. I also have a Facebook page linked below. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest if you're on any of those social profiles. And I'm Crafty Beach on YouTube is my handle on all of them. Love to see you over there. Okay, let's keep crafting. Look at these beautiful rub-on transfers that I found at the Crafter Square at the Dollar Tree. I thought we could decorate one of these galvanized metal tulips with those. Because, you know, sometimes these things can be a little hard to decorate. I also found a great thrift flip sign that we're going to get used there from the Goodwill. And I really like that bluish green color. I thought it looked really coastal. And it almost kind of has a sunshine pattern on it. It's got like a great hanger on the back. I like to pick these up at half price days at my Goodwill store. So this was like $1.50. But you can use whatever you've got. I just really dig in the color on that. I thought that would look really pretty for spring. Now it does have like a little clip on it to like hang something. Don't need that on there. So just removing that, the screw on that with a screwdriver. I also wanted to distress it just a little bit. Kind of clean it up, but to kind of make it look more coastal. And my little tulip fits perfectly on there. Now, this design is so pretty for spring. Look, it's got all the words on there, the flowers, butterflies, bicycles. So cute. And I thought this would be perfect to decorate this. So I'm just kind of cutting it down to size. And I'm just going to peel off the back and stick it to the galvanized metal tulip. Then I am just going to rub it on. I started with just a scraper, just a little scraper like from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, and scrape that on, and look how beautiful that is. What a great way to decorate the galvanized metal pieces from the Dollar Tree. And oh, I think it looks so pretty for spring. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach that with hot glue. I know that they say you shouldn't hot glue the metal pieces, but I usually don't have any problems as long as I work quickly with my high temp hot glue gun. And I'm totally digging it. I think that looks really cute. I did want to kind of distress that background a little bit more. I kind of should have done that before I like glued the tulip down, but that's okay. I'm doing it now. And that's all there is to it. I think this is so pretty for spring. What do you guys think about this little tulip? I think that design on there is just so pretty. Love it. Love the little bicycle on there too. Okay, the next two DIYs, I thought we could use those little flower wall decals from the Dollar Tree. And then I found some really pretty frames from Goodwill, and they're really old. And I thought we could DIY something fun with this. So I am just peeling off the back of these. What I want to salvage on these frames is the frame and the glass. I'm going to do two of them. And I thought we could do some kind of a coastal cottage theme flower DIY using those beautiful flower decals. I'm always looking at those and always thinking those would be really pretty for spring. But I often have trouble finding what to DIY them with. So I just remove the back and go ahead and take the glass out of the frame. And it's got this beautiful pattern on there. You could always use a Dollar Tree sign. You can get textured Dollar Tree signs, but really liked the antique feel of this. And so I'm just using some ivory chalk paint and a chunky brush and kind of going all over, bringing out that beautiful pattern on this frame. But kind of distressing it at the same time to kind of make it look nice and old. It was kind of a gold metallic before. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glass in these and use the flower sticker as the artwork, but not put the back on it. So I do go over it with another coat, trying to get full coverage over the gold metallic. Didn't really want any of that showing through. And I'm going to go ahead and start on the second frame as well. Just removing the back. You can tell this is an old piece because it is like really put together well. I was having to use my pliers. All kinds of tools here to get this thing taken apart. And we've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass from this one as well. And I want to hang these two signs together as a set. So I want to do the same thing on this one that we did on the first one. So just using that ivory chalk paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint, but I did have some handy. And I am just going all over. I kind of stopped using chalk paint, just making it myself when I need it out of acrylic paint, just because I find that it does add up. If you craft a lot, it can become kind of expensive. Now, I have all of these staples that you saw that I had to lift up on the back of these frames, which is going to kind of interfere with my plan here. So I'm just using some pliers and going around and ripping all of those out. So I like the antique part of this frame, but it was a little bit more work. Now I do want to bring out that beautiful pattern on it. So to do that, I'm just distressing it with Antique Wax by Waverly. And then going over that with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. I really want it to be ivory, but I want to be like a slightly distressed so that you can see that beautiful pattern on there. Totally what I'm going for. And it really reminded me of like a coastal cottage look. Not really coastal farmhouse. And I'm going to do that around all the sides. And it really added to, I think, the antique appeal of this frame. I am trying to get through this voiceover, and I've had to stop like 8 times because I think I'm losing my voice. I really hope I'm not getting sick. I have not been sick forever, and I do not want to be sick. I hate being sick. I know everybody hates being sick, but dang. Okay. So now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pop out all those staples. And I want to hang these together, but I'm actually going to attach them to kind of make them look like they're hanging together, like they came together as a set. So I'll show you that step as well. So I'm just going over this one with the Antique Wax by Waverly as well and distressing. Isn't that pattern so pretty? And then just going over it with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. Now these are the flowers that we're going to use. The wall decals, that beautiful light pink flower and the beautiful light blue flower. Thought they would be a great set. They come together, so only $1.25 for both. But I wanted to stress them to make them look, you know, kind of coastal. So while they're still attached to the little wall decal thing, I distress them with some ivory, acrylic, and a chunky brush and wipe that off with a baby wipe just to give it a nice old weathered look. And you definitely need to do this step now before you add them to the glass if you're going to distress yours as well. I just think it makes it look older, slightly distressed, and more like, you know, hand painted. I don't want it to look like just sticker. So I'm going to clean my glass really well since this was an old frame. And then we can attach our flower to the glass. So they're actually just giant stickers. Now be careful when you're peeling your flower off that you don't accidentally rip any of the leaves. And I'm just going to have it come from the side like that. See where I have the flat edge? I'm going to kind of put that up against the flat edge of the frame. And it fit perfectly on this size of frame, which I think is like an 8x10. Then we're going to go ahead and prepare the glass for the second frame as well. Getting it good and clean so this will stick down nicely. The stickers are pretty sticky, so I'm not too worried about them coming off. You could also do this with a decal as well, though. This one kind of has a flat side as well, so I'm going to do that against this side as well, and it fits on there really good too. Now I want to hang this project, and I kind of had to remove the hanger to get the back off, so I'm just going to use some of these little sawtooth hangers that you just hammer in. Just trying to find the middle of my sign to make sure that this thing's going to hang correctly. Those are definitely my favorite kind of hangers for this kind of project. I am going to attach them together, but I'm going to go ahead and do a hanger on both just because I want to make sure they're secure. I don't want them falling apart and breaking. So to attach the glass to the inside of the frame, I just do a bead of hot glue all the way around. Then working quickly, I'm going to go ahead and lay my glass in there. And it's going to give you that beautiful framed glass look with that beautiful springy flower in it. Doesn't that look cool? I think it looks really nice and old and vintage. And we're going to do the same thing here with the other frame that we painted. So just hot glue, add the frame. This is why you have to get rid of the staples and stuff that are going to be kind of in the way. And make sure you get your glass secured in there really well. Had an errant staple that I had missed before, which kind of caused my hot glue to dry up on me, but that's okay, I'll try again. And there is the pink one. So now it is time to try to attach these together. I kind of want them to look like they're attached with like ribbon, like a ribbon look, but I decided burlap was kind of more my style. So I used some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just attach that with hot glue to connect the two signs together. But again, I'm going to leave the hanger on there because I don't want this just to hang from the ribbon. I want it to be where I can actually use a nail to secure this to the wall. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal cottage flowers for spring. I think they're so pretty, and I think they look so pretty hanging together as a set and a fun little thrift flip. Okay, we have another kind of Dollar Tree DIY thrift flip. I found this little kitchen towel at the Dollar Tree, and I thought we could make it into a canvas. I found this great long sign from Goodwill, and I got this half price. So it was like $1.50, and it's a nice big sign. You could always do this with the long signs from the Dollar Tree as well if you wanted to, if you found like a towel or a print that you like. You guys know I love crafting with any kind of fabric I can get at Dollar Tree. I use washcloths, towels, bandanas, scarves, whatever I can find. Good, cheap craft fabric, and you know they also have fabric as well. Now, this kind of had like a metallic gold frame along the side of it, and I want this to look more like coastal farmhouse. So I am just going to use some ivory chalk paint, adding a little bit of antique wax by Waverly in it to kind of give me like a driftwood color is what I was kind of going for with this. And then I am just going to paint that over the gold metallic sides. I kind of wanted it to make it kind of look like a driftwood frame. And then I am going to use the towel to replace the image that's on there and kind of make it look like a canvas. So using a chunky brush, I kind of distress it on there to kind of give me that like faux wood grain. And it's okay if some of that gold shines through because it's just going to kind of make it look more distressed. Now, this was kind of the perfect size because my towel is big enough to cover the whole thing. But I was worried that you might be able to see the image through the towel once I glue it on there because it is a white towel. And you could do this with like the flower sack towels as well. That might even look prettier. You just kind of have to find a style that you like. And so I did paint the back of it ivory just to give me that nice clean background. Now I thought I should iron this a little bit because it's got a lot of folds in it, and I thought it was going to be kind of hard to get this flat on it. So I'm just going to go over it with my Easy Press to kind of flatten out some of the wrinkles on that and give me this wonderful fabric that I can craft with. And the colors are perfect. It's that pink and blues that we've been using a lot today. It's kind of a heavy duty towel though, so when I glue it on, I'm just using Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to do a rather thick coat to secure that down to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Then I'm going to lay my towel on top of the thrifted sign and smooth that out. Gluing that down, and it's just a fun way to make your own canvas. Now I do kind of want it to look sealed like a canvas and not super soft, and so I am going over the top of it with Mod Podge as well, just to kind of make it look a little stiffer, and it's going to help it glue down as well. But I really liked the print and the colors on this. I thought this would go really well for a spring sign for my entryway. Once I get it all Mod Podged, I'm just going to go over it with some heat and give it a quick dry. And now it's time to cut. So I'm just going to use some really sharp fabric scissors and then cut around just the top here. If you didn't have, like I have a frame on there, you know, that I painted, so I kind of want that to be exposed. So I just want the top part of this sign to be covered. But if you wanted to wrap it all around, you could stretch it around a frame and staple it to the back, just like they build a canvas. So just trying to get as close as I can. I did have like a little bit of a line that you could see there on the top and the bottom to get that to fit on that long sign, which weren't the straightest, but I got it on there as close to straight as I could. Once I get that trimmed down, I decided I wanted it to be even a little bit stiffer, so I do go over it with more Mod Podge, securing that down. Kind of gave me more of a canvas feel to this. And less like a towel. I was trying to get less like a towel. So just going all over to secure that down. I am trying to touch up my line there a little bit, just because it kind of got cut off. Now I didn't really like the cutting that I did around the sides. I thought, you know, it wasn't a perfect straight cut. Maybe if I would have cut it before. And so I am going to frame that out a little bit to cover that up. And I'm going to use some of the brown nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. This is just kind of the thinner one. And we're going to do a simple rope frame. If you were going to do this on one of the long Dollar Tree signs, you could always make yours look thicker by doing the same thing and doing a simple rope frame. This is going to kind of bring in the coastal vibe. And it's going to kind of finish off my seam here and just kind of make it look more like a finished product. So I kind of have a little groove there on the top of my frame. And so I just do a bead of hot glue there, and we're just going to wrap this rope all the way around. Super fun. And if you wanted to get creative on the corners, you totally could. You could tie knots on the corners or do whatever you wanted to kind of go with your like coastal feel. I wanted mine to be like nice straight corners, so I actually cut mine on this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side the same way. And then I have to do the top and the bottom. I'm going to cut 2 pieces to do that as well. That way all my corners are kind of uniform instead of just using one piece. So we got all of that framed out. You can't see any of my cutting that I did on there, but I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of detail to it. So I thought just adding like a pink Dollar Tree flower over one of the flowers on the sign would make it look really cool. And I always like to add a fun element. Now I kind of took it apart, so it kind of made the petals fall apart. So I kind of have to glue them on piece by piece, as you can see. But that's okay. Now I kind of needed something to replace the middle of the flower. And so I thought a seashell, just because, you know me. So I just take a little seashell from the Dollar Tree and I hot glue that to the middle of my flower, and it provided a little coastal touch to these spring flowers on this new canvas. Super whimsical, super fun. Might not be your style, but I thought it was fun DIY. Okay, I'm going to use one of these like little spring wall hangings from the Dollar Tree, a Dollar Tree wood round, and some of that contact paper from the Dollar Tree to kind of make a little spring sign. I thought we could cover the wood round with that contact paper from the Dollar Tree. I don't work with that a lot because I usually can't find like a style I like, but this one was like kind of a mint green with a white flower pattern on it. And I thought that kind of looked coastal and pretty for spring, and the colors are perfect. Very muted. Kind of a pastel mint green. So I'm going to cut out a piece of that contact paper. And simply peel and stick on the wood round. I keep trying to lose my voice. Maybe it's because my team won the Super Bowl yesterday. Go Chiefs! I may have screamed a little too loud. Maybe that's it. I'm so proud of them. And then I am using a sanding block to go around and give me a perfect cut. This contact paper from the Dollar Tree was very thin and pretty easy to cut with a sanding block. And that way you get a perfect cut. You don't have to worry about any of the wood showing through. And look at that beautiful background and very minimal effort. No painting involved. I just poke the holes back through it. And then I got to distress it a little bit. So I guess there is a little painting involved. I just do ivory working in one direction, giving me a little bit of a coastal vibe. Then I thought we could use that hanging sign I got from the Dollar Tree. These are really cute if you take them apart like this. Just pull the staples out of the back. You can kind of build your own thing. They have some really cute styles. And then you can get like a sign with words on it. This one's got like flowers as well. Live life in full bloom. The colors are nice and muted. I like kind of the mint green sign. Just kind of trying to alternate the colors. There's 2 yellow flowers, so I kind of alternate them across from each other to make it look a little bit more symmetrical. And then we're just going to start hot gluing these to our wood round. Super easy, and you don't even have to break out your Cricut. So I'm just going to go ahead and secure them all. I'm going to go ahead and use all these pieces. And this was a really easy little spring sign to put together. And I bet everyone's ready for spring. I am lucky enough to live in Florida, so our weather is already beautiful. But I remember we used to live in the Midwest in Missouri. We also used to live in Philadelphia, so I know about the winter and looking forward to spring for sure. Now to kind of break it up, I decided to distress all of those with the ivory as well, just to kind of make it look a little bit less like paper and a little bit more handcrafted, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. I always stack up on baby wipes, sometimes from the Dollar Tree, sometimes from like Target has a really nice generic one. We can get a really large bag of them and they work great for crafting. Now I thought I would replace the hanger with a wood bead using some of this wood bead garland from the Dollar Tree. This is the raw wood ones, but they have colored ones now as well. I'm really digging all of the wood beads they have at Dollar Tree. I used to have to order these on Amazon. So I am just cutting that down. You kind of have to remove the end one to be able to get the wood bead to move on those because they're kind of strung through, and then just tying that on the sign with the existing string that was already in there. And how easy was that? So fun, right? Now, this is me just wanting to add a little bit of a fun touch. I'm taking some of this burlap ribbon, and I am just going to cut some little circles for the center of my flowers just because I thought it needed just a little bit more texture, and it's going to kind of give me that coastal vibe as well. And I just attach all 3 of my little burlap circles with hot glue. Then I was super happy with it. And this is our super easy little spring sign. I think it's really cute and very unique. So lovely. Okay, this next DIY could not be any easier. I'm going to use some of these coasters for spring, and I'm going to do some simple little garlands for my wall. You can make a little pennant banner just with these coasters. They're so pretty, and I love the color. So I picked up some pink ones and some like mint green ones. And I'm just going to simply string the coasters on twine. Really couldn't be any easier, and just a fun way to add a little spring. This would be really cute to add to a shelf or the top of a cabinet. I'm just going to kind of string mine on my wall just to kind of make some fun for spring, but seriously, that's all I'm going to do is string it through that. They're cut so perfectly. They're kind of like a felt coaster, and they're kind of a little bit thick since they're a coaster, but they work really well for crafting as well. So that's all I'm going to do is string those on. I got 2 different shapes and 2 different colors, so I'm just going to kind of alternate that. I'm going to make 2 of these and just do 4 flowers on each. Honestly, I don't know if this is even considered a DIY because it's so easy. There we go. And this is how it looks hanging on my wall for spring. Love those colors together for spring. Isn't it so pretty? Okay guys, it's time for the final reveal. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment your favorite DIY below, or just come say hello in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button. It helps my algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed, we're trying to get to 13,000 because yes, we hit 12,000 subscribers today. So thank you so much.
With you, everything's moving slower. I don't know what it is you do. I've been looking at you all night, trying to figure you out. I just wanna make you smile. Hold your hand in my hand, looking at the sunset. Man, you're looking good tonight. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. Wheels in motion. before the sun goes down. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing that's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love.
Thank you so much to everyone that sends me super thanks and super chats on my videos. I appreciate you so much, and you help keep this channel afloat. If you would like to watch more Crafty Beach YouTube things that you might enjoy this video right here. Thanks for watching.